Hey guys, Hiluxyota here. Finally on the board with some silver. Hey everybody, I get a lot of private messages wanting to know, how I look for old houses and whatnot, but right now it's a rainy day, so I'm just going to show you something that you guys can do. What I usually like to use is historic map work, so you can see right here, I just pulled it up. And what I'm going to do for a demonstration, the town I live in is in Minooka, Grundy County, but on the 1874 plat maps, now this is the oldest plat map I can find that they offer on this, for this town. So back then, right now it's Grundy County, but back then they named it Aux Sable, which is still today, a small part of it is Aux Sable, but back then Grundy County didn't exist, it was just Aux Sable, as you can see here. And what I did is I pulled up, when I typed in Aux Sable County, Illinois, and I pulled up this old plat map here from the year 1874. Now you can see here, bear with me because I'm trying to work the buttons and hold the camera, but all these little dots, what those are, if you're not familiar with this, that's why I'm doing it, for those of you that just beginning metal detecting and the parks aren't panning out for you. This is just one tool that, I just started doing it myself. I'm not the best at it, but I'm getting better with it. I play with it a lot. But anyway, it's going to pull up an old plat map. Now, you're looking at it and you're like, all right, well, what is that? Well, what this is, okay, we'll start off with this here, McClendon. Now, what this is McClendon's plat, okay? Now, he had 100 acres, or we can go to Joshua Collins. This was his field at the time, and he had 160 acres, and you can see these are creeks, and some of them show railroad tracks. Now all these little black dots, those are houses. Now keep in mind, guys, just because this says 1874 doesn't mean these houses were built in 1874. They can go as far back as the 1840s, 50s, or whatever. They could even been a cabin site there before they even built the house. But you can see here they show schools and churches, like there's a school here, as you can see. And then all these little dots, obviously they're houses. Like Joshua Collins had his house here. And just for reference, all the other ones. But yeah, like some of these, like this guy had 20 acres, and then obviously there's smaller plats down in here, and they're divided into sections, like section 23, section 22, section 21. But what I want to show you is how to use this to find these old houses that aren't there anymore. Now, some of them might still be standing today, but looking on here, all the street names, you can see they use dirt roads a lot of times to boundary their fields, and a lot of times back then they didn't have names for them. So I know you're looking at this, you're like, oh, how do I know where this school is, or that house there on Joshua Collins field? Okay, well, I'm going to show you how to do is, what we're going to do is overlay this. Now, MapWorks, historic MapWorks, how it works is, you pull this up, and then it's going to give you an option to go to satellite, street maps, or whatever. Again, bear with me because I'm trying to do this while holding the camera. I might have to shut camera off a couple times to get it. So you can see here, this is a whole plat map of Aux Sable County in 1874. Now what I like to do is Historic Map Works. It's basically free. You can choose the premium, which you have to pay for. Now, Historic Earth. Now, if you look up a plat in your area, you might see this, you might not. Overlay this map. Now, this is what you're looking for. Now, if you don't see this, I mean, obviously, if you buy it, it'll probably be on there, but you don't have to buy anything. You can. There's another way to doing it. If it doesn't give you the option to overlay it here, you can go on like Google Earth Pro, but that's I'll show you that some other time because that's kind of harder to get into. But right now we're just gonna go with the basic free. Again, you don't have to pay nothing. You just type everything in. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna hit Historic Earth. See there. Now what it's going to do, hold on again, I'm going to try to do this with the camera. Let's try to scroll down here. Now what it did is it brought this 1874 plat map up to 2016 plat map, okay? Now as you can see, these are, it's on Open Street Maps. Now again, this will show you, just the major routes where, I mean, I know you're looking at this, you're like, okay, I can't make heads or tails of it, but you can see how the map's overlaid on there. Now it's just on here for right now, so what I want to do is I want to go to Google Satellite. So I'm going to click on Google Satellite. Now it brought me up today's satellite, and you can see the old plat map over it. Now you can overlay this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find that church. Now bear with me, it's going to be hard to do holding this camera again. Now, but you could fade this 1874 map in and out to find, what the differences are between today and 1874. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this satellite up to where that schoolhouse should have been on this map, and then I'm going to overlay it in and out to show you guys. Now these maps, they're pretty close. They're pretty dead on with where they were back then to where they were today. So just bear with me. I'm going to blow this up and show you how to fade this in and out, and we're going to find that school together here. And you see up here on the left, there's the tool to fade everything in and out and move it around. So what I'm going to do is move this up a little bit. Oops. So I got the whole map in the center there. Okay, now what I'm going to... Alright, now you can see it took me a couple seconds to get it up because I kept moving it all around. But you can see where that school is now. See right there, and then obviously you can see all the little dots where houses were, but right now you can see some old railroad tracks, and then we're going to see those on today's satellite also. But you can see clearly where the school was. Now what you want to do is map opacity. That's going to fade this map in and out to where you can see where that school is today. Alright, what I did is I blew it up pretty big here. So now the school's right dead there in front of me. So what I'm going to do now is come over here and fade it in and out. Alright, what I'm doing now is starting to fade in and out. Sorry, I just, when I touched that, everything wiped off the screen again. But I'm down here. I can go 15%. And I can keep lowering the fade to where the street is. Now, I know what road that is. Actually, it's not too far from me. But you can see where it was. If I can lower it down now, again, some more. So right there is 100%. It's showing the school. What I'm going to do is take it down to 5%. And you can see that corner where the school was on. Obviously right there, if you can see that. Just have to play with it. I mean, it's a really good tool to use for finding old houses. Now right now all this is a big field, and there's some trees right there. I mean, there's nothing there. And this is actually a street that's not too far from me. It's only like a mile. Okay, now what I did is, I kind of zoomed it in a little bit. There's an area here that's obviously a field. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade in that old historic plat map that was from the 1870s. So what I'm going to do here is bring it up a little bit. 25%, 35%. Now you can start seeing a dot there that was on the original map where the house was. You can see it was right on the edge of this field here. So let's zoom in on a little bit more. 55%, 65%. Now you can see the old plat that's overlaid. And you can see that now these maps are pretty much dead on. So you can see that little square there where the homestead was, where I showed you earlier. It's right on the edge of what that field is now. Now I can zoom it in a little bit more. As there you can see it perfectly. Now I take it back out. Now this is the satellite of today. There's nothing there. There's some newer houses here, but right here is where the old house was. Now I know where this area is, so all I got to do is just, I can drive over here and, walk right up to it. But, obviously I'd have to find the owner of the field here and go knock on the door, which he's probably going to be over here, because there's a house here now, and I'm sure he owns all this. But there you have it. Go to Historic Mapworks and just play around with it, and you can find. Just want to show you too, another tool I like to use is Zillow. I have an app on my phone. If I'm at and sometimes houses are kind of hard to, I like hunting the older houses. Obviously the telltale sign if a house is old is looking at the foundation, old limestone, but sometimes brick houses can be kind of deceiving. So what I like to do is, the site here, Zillow, what they do is they'll list houses for sale. But the house doesn't have to be for sale in order to find the year of a house. What you do is you just go on the Zillow app, and if you know what street you're on, you type in the street and the address of the house, and it will show you the last time it was sold, how much it sold for. But most importantly, it tells you the year of it. So we're going to use this for an example. I'm kind of in the market looking for an old house now, so I found this one. So we're going to go on that one. We're going to look at the statistics on it. Right there, built in 1880. Now 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10 it's going to tell you the year of the house. If it doesn't, it'll say built before 1970. But obviously there you go. You can do this. The house doesn't have to be for sale. If you're looking at a house and you and your buddy, or you're not sure what the year is, you think it might be from the 30s, but it could be from 1910, go ahead and look it up. It'll be right here on Zillow. It'll show you the acreage of it, built, when it was built, last time it was sold, or it doesn't really give you the names of who owns it, but I just use it for the date, because sometimes those older brick homes, and if they got a newer foundation, you might pass it up thinking it's from the 1930s or 40s. I like the 1800s houses. I like finding the barbers and the seateds and large cents, so I use it all the time. So I hope this helps also.